Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind. Today's goal, exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, there's a reason why the world is changing so quickly. There's a reason why our culture is changing so quickly. It's due to technological advancement, but one of the most important technological advancements is the ability to tell story through a visual medium. Television changed the world. And now beyond television, we have every service imaginable, every digital service on any screen you could imagine, YouTube obviously being the biggest Goliath here. The visual storytelling medium is the most powerful tool in the modern era. It's clips like this and edits like this. In just a few minutes, you can tell a very deep story. I found this amazing edit on Twitter, which just exposes the dishonest media so well when you put it in visual and audio form. It's so incredibly convincing and hard-hitting. Let me show you guys this incredibly powerful clip. Let's try to open some eyes here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at leftist hypocrisy on display.
Now that he's got the right attorney general in position to do it, we now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th president of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any in our little banana republic. Any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump.
Breaking news on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the fourth time in 5 months.
Bill Barr, on the president's behalf, is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
The president using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
Department of Justice is totally politicized.
Sticking the Department of Justice on political opponents.
Threatening to imprison his political rival, Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies. Tin pot dictator in a banana republic.
Is acting more like a banana republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponent.
Essentially, we are a banana republic. That we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent.
And that's using the Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values.
The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is the type of thing that happens in a banana republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
To investigate my principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
A president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election.
But to try to take out a political rival. The end goal being 2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department. The only difference between this and a banana republic is that Trump does not eat fruit.
The 2020 election is really the last chance we have to stop our system from fully sliding into a corrupt banana republic.
Bill Barr has done everything that Donald Trump has wanted him to do.
Yeah.
We're living in a banana republic right now.
When you start using the Justice Department to go after your enemies, that's very, very dangerous.
Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice to go after his enemies in any way that he can.
Having the head of the chief federal law enforcement agency essentially working on his behalf to investigate a political rival.
To investigate the family of a political opponent. Basically, banana republic behavior.
We're no better than some, some banana republic.
And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me.
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power.
Now that's from Grabien. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who they are. If you don't, you ought to be following them on any relevant social media platform. Grabien's a right-wing media watchdog that goes deep into the news archives and collects the greatest clips, harvesting those clips and waiting for the perfect moment to use them in these amazing edits where they tell a story. What's the story that they're telling there? It's a story of hypocrisy. It's a story of constant leftist double standards. At the mere suggestion of any Democrat being held accountable during Donald Trump's first term, the media jumped up, assuming a mass collective defensive position, defensive stance or formation, going through the whole checklist of talking points. Banana Republic, weaponizing the DOJ, using the Attorney General as a legal hitman to go against your political opponents. Every single talking point that is currently used to defend Donald Trump against Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and Jack Smith's illegitimate persecution and weaponization of federal agencies is exactly what the Democrats were saying back then when they were building this media-fabricated narrative of the Trump authoritarian boogeyman. It was all hypothetical back then, but they said everything we were saying verbatim. But now that it's actually happening, all of a sudden they're all silent. The same standard doesn't apply, of course not. I mean, absolutely crazy stuff. I've even seen some leftoids suggest that Donald Trump has now been found guilty of insurrection because a partisan state Supreme Court decided that that was the case without due process. I mean, let's have a conversation about Banana Republic. Donald Trump is theoretically stripped off the ballot in Colorado because the Democrat state Supreme Court justices there decided that the 14th Amendment applies to Donald Trump in this case. But even CNN's own legal analyst, Eli Honig, is able to see the flaws in that legal argument. Take a look at this. I do agree with Bob that we have a serious due process problem here because the 14th Amendment itself says that Congress, in Section 5, Congress has to pass laws that tell us how this works. Who gets to decide who engaged in insurrection? Is it a court? Is it a Congress? Is it a jury? Is it a judge? Honig noted that the only law that's still on the books, as Bob said, that Congress has ever passed is the criminal law criminalizing insurrection, which specifically says if a person is charged or convicted with this, he's disqualified, and that has not happened here. He concluded instead Colorado tried to sort of take this state-level proceeding that's not really made for this type of insurrection determination and force a square peg into a round hole, and I think that violates Donald Trump's due process rights, and I think the US Supreme Court's gonna reverse it because of that. So Democrats used the term Banana Republic to fearmonger during the Trump days. The media ran with it and pushed the DNC talking point. But now that we have Democrat operatives, Democrat state Supreme Court justices who have seemingly gone rogue in an attempt to do the DNC's bidding ahead of an election cycle, violating the Constitution, violating Donald Trump's due process rights, the media is silent. I haven't heard the words Banana Republic stringed together on any leftist network since Joe Biden's inauguration. We're not living in this innocent world where the news media is just bringing us the facts and reporting from a neutral stance what's going on. We are living in a world with puppet masters attempting to actively manipulate us through a non-stop propaganda brainwashing campaign. At first, it may be hard to see, it may be hard to accept, but when you put it together in visual form, when you see it edited together, it's as clear as day, isn't it? I just thought you guys would appreciate that video, and hopefully you appreciated the discussion as well. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.